Hello and welcome back to the snake room. Today we're be showing you a few more of our collection. We're starting off today with our prairie rattlesnake. It's his feeding day. Normally I'd be feeding and cleaning his enclosure, but his enclosure is perfectly fine. The only thing I need to do with him is change his water bowl. So I just reach in with the hemostat, grab the water bowl out of there, get him some nice fresh water. Just filled up the pitcher with ice cold fresh water for him. And we got his attention there. So now I open up the enclosure again, set the water bowl down in there, and now he's starting to move around and flick his tongue. I think he knows food's coming in. He usually doesn't take the food from me. Once in a while he'll bite it. I'll get his mouse here. Usually sometimes he'll bite it and then I'll just lay it down for him. Yeah, look, he's a little more interested in trying to escape. See if we can get him to recognize this as food and stop moving around so much. Touch his body with it. See, he's just more apt to want to try to get out of here. This is what he's doing today. Alright, so what we're going to end up doing, they usually end up putting the food right in front of his hide enclosure right there, which is what we're going to do. And he will eat it. He's just more interested in trying to get out right now than he is with his food. He's a pretty cool rattlesnake. When I first got him, he was very aggressive, would constantly be striking at me right now, especially if I put my hand up over the screen. He would strike up there. Many times his fangs would protrude from the screen and actually venom would shoot out of him at me. But he's settled down a whole lot. Actually, she has settled down a whole lot. You see, I put her food right here, her mouse. She will find it and she will eat it later. So right now she's all done. And my next guy I need to feed and clean is my Gaboon Viper. Now I don't need to clean him, he's nice and clean. Now again, reaching in without using the hemostats or using a glove is not the greatest idea, but he's still a small guy. His water bowl is way over here. There's no way he could strike me this far. So I'm going to be stupid. I'm going to reach in there and I'm going to grab his water bowl with my hand. And give him some nice fresh water. Again, there's probably a 99.9% chance that he could never bite me over this far. But you know what? It still would be a better idea if I use my hemostats. And today, for the first time, I did put a disclaimer on the front of my videos explaining that, you know, if you deal with venomous snakes, you really should, you know, get training, that I'm a professional. I've been doing this for over 35 years now. And I actually am even licensed to do this. But again, just because I do stupid things sometimes don't mean you should. Now my Gaboon Viper, which is one of my favorite snakes, is right there. He's a gorgeous little baby. But I had a friend pick him up for me, and of course I'm not blaming my friend at all for the fact that since I had him, this guy has always refused food, so I have to generally tube feed him, or I have had to tube feed him so far. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to offer him food. Maybe he'll take it without me having to tube feed him. And just rub it on his little body here, let him know I'm around. See him starting to breathe really heavy here, so he knows I'm here. Put the food right in front of him a little bit, let him smell it. It'd be totally awesome if he would just grab this. Look at him puffing up. See if you'll smell it and grab that from me. Alright, smelling it. Okay, now the other last thing I'll do, which I normally don't like to do, is like touch his mouth with it. See, when you do that, usually what happens is what he just did, which is to shy away from it. Alright, now he's not going to take this. So what we're going to do is we're going to tube feed him again. See, there's a lot of people will think, okay, well, just starve him out a little bit, he'll eat. This particular guy hasn't want to eat for me since I got him. I've had him in different types of environment. I've had him in substrates where he could bury himself. Smaller enclosures, larger enclosures. Right now I got him on newspaper. He didn't tend to want to eat no matter where I put him. So I'm just going to make him eat because I don't like it when these guys don't eat for me, my snakes. So what I do is, obviously, if you've seen a couple of my videos here, I will tube feed them, or I will force feed them. And in this case, he gets force fed. So what you're going to do is we're going to get him in this tube right here. But if you notice right now, all this huffing and puffing, that's what they're very good at doing. Look how he puffs his body up with air and huffs and puffs at me. Alright, Gaboon Vipers are noted for being the world's longest fangs, up to 2 inches. But we're going to get him, see if we can get him to put his head right in there, climb up the tube. Give me a lot of huff and puff. We get him right up in the tube. I'll take my glove off so I can hold him a little better. And get his hide back in there while he's out. As you can see now, I got him up in the tube. Alright, the next snake we got here is another baby. Oh, excuse me, Timber Canebrae Cross. He's over there, so we're going to pick up his water dish here. I'm going to try to pick it up. The paper is kind of stuck to the bottom here. That out. And we're just gonna, this one a little bit dirty, so we're gonna spray it with some alcohol. Wipe it out. Put it back in here, and he's way over there, so again, not too worried about him biting me. Again, don't do what I do what I say type of deal here. But he's a baby, and just like the other baby I told you before, they probably wouldn't have eaten even one meal yet because of the time of the year that they were born. They would be hibernating or climating right now, because snakes don't really hibernate. Hibernate's kind of the wrong word for them. Hibernate would be something where they go in definitely for the entire winter. Climate is where they basically go in because they have to, because of the temperature, and then they will come out even in the middle of winter. These guys will come out and they will sun themselves. And like right now, it's December 25th here, and it is up in the upper 60s temperature wise. Whoop. He was trying to sneak away there. I want to grab a hold of him just like that, and we want to see, the best way for you guys to see this is slide his little head in the tube, and then we'll slide him up farther here. I can take my glove off. Like we're saying, no, it's you know, it's December 25th. I'm up here in where I'm at. It's right now in New York. Normally there'd be probably snow on the ground and it'd be cold, but it's in the upper 60s. So if you go up by the rattlesnake dens and stuff like that, these guys will not be hiding. They will be out sunning themselves. So they're, again, a more climate, a nice hot sunny day, they will come out and absorb the sun. And what we're going to do now is take them over here and tube feeding. And we're back over here to tube feeding. I'll wipe off the little amount of food that's dripping out. We got our timber canebrake cross baby in the tube here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move this and slide this so it on the side of his mouth there. Get him to open up his mouth. I don't like coming directly at him. Usually rub it on the side of their mouth a little bit. He will eventually get annoyed with me. And open his mouth. Well, there, we just slid it right in. Now he'll S up so I can see where the tube is in his body. Move the tube back and forth through the S shapes, and I can push it all the way down. Now I will take it and I will push the tube and the snake back out of the tube as we go down here farther. Okay, because what I want to do is I want to be able to feel the tip of this tube in my hand. So as we move him down, you see him right here, we push him and the tube so it's headed out. And get him back farther. Here we go. Okay, now I feel the tip of the tube. So I stop there. Tip of the tube is down here. He gets 4 cc's. So right now we go, count them off. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop there. I hold my hand over the end of the tube so I can feel that ball move through my fingers. Kind of squeeze the snake shut a little bit so none of the food will come out. And now the snake is right here. I can rub his belly just a little bit, push the food back, and then we'll take him back over here and put him back in his enclosure. This is my baby reticulated python. This python came from LLL Reptiles. Heard a few bad things about them, but to be honest with you, you go on their website, they tell you exactly what the snake is. They show you a picture of the snake. Sometimes they have a video of the snake. They do not misrepresent what they're selling. A lot of times you're buying a snake that's an import. It's very cheap. You get it, it has problems and it ends up dying. Well, you can't really blame them. They told you exactly what you were getting. This is a reticulated python. They are the world's largest snakes. They have obtained measurable lengths of a live snake of over 33 feet. Now, the thing with big snakes is you can control their size. I have had a reticulated python before this size that within 1 year the snake was over 10 feet. They grow extremely quickly, but you can control their size by the amount of food you give them. You see, what happens is the mainland retics have plenty of food, so they grow to be the largest, where the island retics, their food source is limited, so they tend to stay smaller. So if you feed your retic, your baby retic here, maintenance diet, he will stay at a smaller size. So what I'm doing now is I'm tube feeding this retic, and I will tube feed this retic until it gets larger, till it gets to about a year old, and then I will start feeding it mice and rats. But I'm going to control the size so this snake does not get extremely large. So what I do is, you can see he's extremely friendly. I use the spatula here to open his mouth. And retics are extremely smart snakes, so you got to watch. So once I get his mouth open, I'll put the probe in there, and as you can see, he's not really fighting me too much. And he will get 20 cc's, so we'll get him 10, and we'll get him up here, right up there. We're going to give him a little more than 20 today. We're going to give him about 25. Okay, and what I do then is I rub the belly again down, pushing the food down a little farther. And we take the thing out. last two snakes we got. The first one here. And they've just been recently put in here, so their enclosures aren't very dirty. This is a albino cow king. He's up for adoption. Pretty cool little snake. I love the colorations on him. He's pretty well got like a purplish hue with the yellow banding on him. And then we're going to take him over here and feed him. And here's our little albino cow king. A lot of people, you would have a hard time if this guy didn't want to eat, have a hard time feeding him, force feeding him pinkies or something. But I want to show you here that it's very, very easy to get him to eat, or to tube feed him. We're going to give him 3 cc's. The hardest part is getting his little head. Here, getting behind the little head, right there. Very, very wiry little guys. Once we get him, there we go. Again, using the spatula, carefully open up his mouth. We insert the tube. It'll go all the way in. And you can see here. Look on the tube. Give him exactly 3 cc's. So we'll go 1, 2, and 3. At which point, squeeze him a little bit. Pull the tube back out. Mouth here, rub his belly just a little bit, and again he's all fed and ready to go. Okay, and our very last one for today, and we're going to have to clean him out. You can see he went to the bathroom all over, is a Florida King. Florida Kings are awesome snakes. This guy here, Florida Kings are the largest of the king snakes. They'll get 4 to 6 feet in length. Usually terrific eaters. Again, no, I tube feed most of my baby snakes until they get up to a bigger size. Don't like really having to deal with pinkies if I don't have to. But this guy here, he's also up for adoption. And a beautiful snake. And the one thing about even when you tube feed them, a lot of people are like, well, you tube feed them, those snakes won't eat. Trust me, when these snakes are offered food, they will still eat the food, no problem. If you want this guy to get huge, you could feed him fuzzies right now. He will grow very fast. I don't want him to grow very fast, nor do I want him to grow very large, so I do control their diet. And again, you can see they're not aggressive because I control their diet. Alright, and here's our Florida King snake again. Now a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't tube feed or force feed snakes, it stresses them out. I've been doing this now for, once I perfected the method, I've been doing this now for over 25 years of tube feeding. I've been force feeding over 35 years when I had to. And my snakes are healthy. I don't see them stressed out in any way, shape, or form. And they grow at a nice, slow, steady rate. And again, I'm not going to let my snakes starve to death, and they're not starving to death. A lot of people, you know, they're like, oh, well, you know, my baby snake won't eat, what should I do? People are like, well, let it get hungry, you know, and it's losing weight and everything else. And that's true, maybe it will start eating for you, but you know what? I can start feeding him right now. I can get him up to a healthy size, and when he gets bigger, more of a size that he can accept, like with a corn snake, a lot of baby corn snakes won't eat for you. Pinkies are actually a little bit too large for you. They want you to cut them in half. You got a mush and a mess and everything else. Tube feed them till they get to a size where they can eat a pinky easily, and you will find that once they get up to that size, they'll accept that pinky with no problem. Alright, today we want to conclude this video. We talked about the different snakes and how we tube fed them or force fed them. And again, I believe that I'm not going to leave my snakes go hungry just because they don't want to eat on their own. Tube feeding will keep your snake very healthy, make him grow at a slow rate, which is great if you want to have a snake that's not up to its potential size, but still a nice healthy snake. Force feeding will make the snake grow a lot quicker. Here you see me force feed the Gaboon Viper. I want him to get up to a bigger size faster, so I will force feed him a mice or a rat. Where with the king snakes, I want to keep them at a smaller size, so I tube feed them. It's really cool that the fact that I'm not held a slave to the fact that I have to pay high prices for mice and rats if I don't want to, because I can always tube feed all my snakes with no problem. I even developed a method for tube feeding the bigger snakes, and then one day I'll show you that as well. So today, if you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see what we do all the time, hit the subscribe button. And as like I say, always just keep it real, guys. Have a nice day.